Okay, so I've just had to cut my sprint tests early, so doing some 30s from a standing start with like a reactive start, so like loading the start a little bit, just taking advantage of the stretch shorten cycle a little bit more instead of starting from like a dead stop. I've quite enjoyed doing that the past few weeks. I think it's a novel stimulus, and I think as well it's going to really help just accelerate that progress a little more because you're going to be running a little bit faster through each split, and I think it will train you up to, or train me up I guess, to run faster when I'm coming out of blocks or coming from a 3-point start. So it'll be interesting to start introducing those elements over the coming weeks. But yeah, I've had to cut the session early, unfortunately. It is a little bit annoying. I did actually run a 10th quicker than my 1 yard lead-in 30-meter time last week, so that's big, especially for only doing 2 reps. Like I did 2 reps spiked up. I did a build-up 30 in trainers, probably in the 80% range, maybe 75 to 80%, and then I did a rep at about 90%, then the next rep sort of pushing it as hard as I could but staying relaxed, or as relaxed as I could stay. And yeah, 377, so not a terrible rep honestly. I do think there's potential to probably have dropped like a 3 sub 3.7, 3.6 something maybe, but at the end of the day I had to just call the session. My hip was a little bit tight at the top, and I just don't want to, I want to push another rep and just set myself back. I'd rather just take it easy. I'm gonna go into the weight room now, see where I'm at with things. I think my squat feels good. Like when I do a squat, I'm not really feeling any pain. I'll see with hang power cleats as well, see if those feel good. But yeah, positives to take away definitely. I think it's been a good training block, and the tests were good. It's actually a really nice like sunny day. I don't know if you can really see the sun in the background, but this is like rare for Scotland in October. I think last time there was a day like this, it was back in 2018 or something like that, but it was a lot warmer. But this is nice because you've got that direct sunlight. I was thinking I'll maybe even get the tops off for the final time this year, you know, tops off sprints, or taps off as we'd say in Scotland. And yeah, it was a good session. The two reps that I did get were good. Just a shame, as I say, that I didn't get to finish it out. Usually when I test my 30, I like to do 4 reps. I was planning to do 3 reps today, potentially 4, depending on how sprints felt. I think if I dropped like a 3.6 mid on the next rep, I probably would have just called it there and went to go and do the weight room stuff. But obviously, as I say, the hip just feeling a little bit tight. Don't want to push it and just make things worse. I'd rather just take it a little bit easy and get these weight room tests in. I'm excited to do them. I think also I'll test my current movement jump on the force plate. I'm meeting a friend at Strathclyde and he works there. He's getting the force plate out, so I might do some jumps on there depending on how I feel, if I feel kind of up for it. So yeah, took a little bit of caffeine as well, so I'm a little bit amped up. And the big thing as well about running well on this day is there's like no one around. As you can see, like this is me on my own at this pitch. I didn't actually know I was going to be able to get into this pitch. There was a nice hole in the fence that I managed to just squat underneath and get in, and it's a decent place. I quite like that there's no one here. It reduces, or it helps with the sort of like adrenaline stimulus. Like when I train with people watching, I usually do get adrenaline, and I think that can get like deadened a little bit or like dampened a little bit over time. So it is very nice to have sessions like this where you're just pushing alone, no one's really watching you. Like there's people walking dogs maybe watching, but there's no one like within like a close proximity, I guess, watching, and that's what usually kind of really amps me up. So that's nice. Anyway, enough of this yap. I am going to get into the weight room session and hopefully bash out some lifts with my guy Cal. Okay, so I'm trying something a little different with the audio. So the last one was recorded before the lifts that you've just sort of seen on screen, and then I've not recorded one for the Wednesday session, so I thought I would just do this after the fact. So yeah, Wednesday session was decent. Sprints wise were a little disappointing, but I was running into a slight headwind, so I guess I can't expect too much with that in mind. And on top of that, compared to last week's session, so I was 200ths down on my 20 meter fly from last week's session, and if I compare that session to the week before session, I was in a different environment. There was like a lot of people around. As I say, when I run and there's people around, I do get an adrenaline stimulus that's not really matched when I'm training on my own. Like, I find it very hard to get into that place where I am able to actually produce times that are similar to those sort of situations. That's why I think it's important to sometimes try and remove yourself from that environment. It's good to, as I say, not be getting overstimulated all the time, because then you just get used to it and eventually it becomes sort of less novel in a sense. But definitely use it at times. I think there's a time and a place for even periodizing where you're training at and the kind of environment you're training in. Something that's very important to note, at least for myself, I think it's very important, and I've found value in manipulating these sort of training variables that I guess are maybe less thought about potentially. So yeah, sprints were good. Then it was on to lifts, so I was maxing on power snatch, and very good power snatch max out session. I did in fact hit a nice little PR. It was only a 1 kg PR. I was very close to getting a 4 kilo PR. I think the biggest thing was that I'd obviously done sprints before this, so that's gonna take away some of that energy that you would have for lifts. So potentially I could have got that 4 kg or maybe even a 5 kg PR. I think it's something that doesn't make a massive difference. Like, there's maybe only like a small difference from if you're doing sprints and lifts together, but it's that sort of 1 or 2% difference that might make the difference when it comes to hitting those PRs. So that's sort of the general session for the Wednesday. It was a good day. Happy with how lifts are going, and yeah, just generally quite good. And then obviously power clean max out is the next lift, so enjoy. Okay, so this is week number 8 of my off-season training finished. Very successful week. I PR'd in every test really, other than the sprints, which is expected. Like, I don't expect to be PRing sprints currently at this point in time. I think that's obviously going to come with a little bit more sprint work, a little bit more elastic volume, and I should be in a good position to actually PR those as well. So here's hoping. I mean, sprints still were in a very solid place. Technically, I did kind of PR my 30 meter with 1 yard lead in by like 100th, but I did have some slight hip issues that put a bit of a dampener on that session. But regardless, it was very good. I think there's definitely more to come, as I say, with sprints. Long jump, that was a 6-step PR, which isn't really too hard to beat, I guess, but 5 meters, 59 with a little 2-step skipping as well, but I don't really count the skipping, I just count the actual main steps. So yeah, generally it's been a good week, as I say, PRing on hand power clean by like 10 kilos, because I don't think I've done more than 100 in the past. I think I tried 105 like 2 years ago, didn't get it, and I've not really done much from the hang recently since then. So on top of that, PRing on back squat 147 kilos, nice little 7 kilo PR that mimics the 7 kilo PR that I got in my prep in 2022, which is very nice. Good signs, because last time I had a really good prep for indoor season was back in 2022. That was the last, I'd say, like good prep I had, like 23 and 24. Both of those preps were just riddled with little niggles here and there, just like things that came up, like rehab work for my knee, for like my calf or whatever, just all of these issues, well, my foot, sorry, but yeah, just all these issues that cropped up. So fingers crossed. I have got some slight foot issues at the moment. They don't seem to be too much of an issue, but I'm going to just keep an eye on things. I'm going to make sure that the sprint work and the training that I am doing isn't making it worse than it needs to be. But that's where I am with things. And then obviously power snatch PR on Wednesday as well, 80 kilos, which is up from the 78 to 79, 78.9 to 79 kilo snatch PR that I did earlier this year in Syracuse. So yeah, just very good generally. I think there's a lot more to come with even like strength. Like I do think I can get 150 plus for a back squat PR, maybe even 155 could be potential, but just gonna have to wait and see how things go. The next training cycle is currently in the works. Mr. John Evans is cooking something up, so we shall see what he cooks up, but I have faith that he's gonna do right by me and that we're gonna have a good prep. I just have to sort of believe that it's gonna go well. I have to just manifest it, and I think it should be good. But yeah, power snatch was also a relative PR and a relative strength PR in training. In competition I did 73 at 60.15 kilos. That was like I think 1.21 if I'm right in thinking, and then for split snatch I've done I think 1.22 times body weight, but I was very close to 84, like it was millimeters. I think if I'd attempted it another like 2 times, potentially 1 or 2 times, I could have got even closer. My phone died on the 3rd attempt, like midway through the rep it kind of stopped filming, so I didn't actually get to see that rep, but that was the fastest moving rep. It was 2.11 meters per second, so better than obviously the 2.08, 2.07 that I'd done prior. So yeah, that was nice, but as I say, I do think there was a bit more to come with the snatch. I think the thing I have to remember is this is only 8 weeks into training. I'm not even at peak strength yet. Still just like a lot more to come. I believe there's a lot more to come, and on top of that as well, power clean PR on the Friday. That was very nice, 115 kilos. Then the 118 kilo attempt was super close, so that would have been 206 pounds. Would have been 1.76 times body weight, almost 1.7 times body weight, but not quite there. But yeah, generally, as I say, things are looking good, and I'm looking forward to pushing more.